Things almost feel back to normal as Biggie is back, replacing Turbo Tommy as he's off playing darts. But we got NFL wildcard fallout. We got, just football and more football. We even got some other stuff. We're going to talk about all kinds of things today because this is the We Don't Know Sports podcast. Stay tuned. Welcome back once again to the We Don't Know Sports podcast. This is Chad the Mark with
Mr. Brown
and
Canadian Biggie.
And where's Turbo Tommy?
Tomo Turby. Tomo Turby. I can't even say it now.
That's all right. We got Biggie back. He's not doing family activities. He doesn't have COVID. I had COVID last week, but I'm back to normal now. But it's like the old times.
2/3 of the group here's had COVID in the last 2 weeks.
I did lick your microphone.
That's fine. I'm ready for another vacation.
You don't.
Chad spent all that time in the gym, so it didn't affect him like it did my obese ass.
I will say, it did not get the best of me. I just had it. You know what I mean? It wasn't that bad, but it was a nice siesta from work. I'm not going to lie. Especially since we had all the bad weather. I didn't have to get out in the eastern snowstorm that hit West Virginia. But you know what? It's good. I get to go back tomorrow.
And like a normal person, man, you got to watch a football game on Saturday.
I mean, let's just jump in right there and start because I love football. I love the NFL. I love my Cincinnati Bengals. Hoo-day, baby. They're still alive. But I haven't really been able to enjoy football this year. I've maybe watched like 2 complete NFL games just because I'm usually working every Sunday. But because of COVID, I got to sit there and I got to watch Saturday wild card football. I got to watch Sunday, even Monday. Like, what the hell? 3 straight days of football.
Well, don't sell us short, man, because, we always text you every step of the way just to tell you everything you're missing.
Oh, I know. It's fantastic because, I'll be like hustling doing my job and I look down at my phone and then there's like a million things going on. And sometimes I'm able to get it on the phone and watch, but, it's tough. It's hard. It's hard to pull that off without getting in trouble,
And we remind you how much better our lives are than yours because we can sit and watch football all day on Sunday.
Man. I got a taste of it.
Well, I got to tie it together real quick because you did get to watch football. Normally you're at Sleep Number on the weekends. Did you appreciate the Dak Prescott meme that featured Sleep Number?
That his QBR was lower than his Sleep Number score? Yeah, and I sent that to everybody I work with, and they all laugh their ass off.
There you go.
Because we see that all the time. And what I try to tell everybody is there's more people than Dak Prescott that have a Sleep Number bed. If you want to know what Mahomes has, I'll tell you. I can tell you what Big Ben's got. He's got 2 beds, so.
He puts them together.
He has to.
2. He needs 2 kings pushed together.
It's a quad king.
Yes. Extra support in the middle.
Oh.
So it had to be a little extra special for you being able to watch the game, playoff game, Burrow, promising future, but you're going against Mr. Brown's Raiders. So you guys can go back and forth in the game and there's no customer coming through the door. You're not missing anything.
I just got to sit there and watch and enjoy. And, it was glorious. And the Raiders, man, like hats off. Like they're the team that just would not die this year. Like they were left for dead. They've been in playoff mode since like October, it feels like. And
they won before the playoffs started. They won. They had to win 4 games in a row to make the playoffs.
They had to get in.
They won 4 games by a 12-point margin total.
The 4 games combined was 12 points.
Yeah.
It's a game of inches, baby.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. But
and I do appreciate the fact that they give you all phantom touchdowns.
I was going to ask. I knew we had to get to that. So let me ask you this though. We've talked. I identify that the rule is what it is, and yes, we got advantage of that. Now that being said, I would have been pissed if they would have ruled that play dead because to me, 99% of it was almost done, and then they blow it as the ball's getting caught in the end zone. But if that happened to me, I would have burned stuff down.
Mr. Brown, we're coming up on the 20-year anniversary. Actually, just passed it of the Tuck rule
this week.
Is this something that you're talking about in 20 years? The phantom playoff touchdown.
It don't have the same significance.
It happened in the second quarter,
and it started the dynasty of the Patriots. I mean, it
could start a dynasty. I can only hope
it won't. But the fact is that I agree with you. The play was probably going to be the same regardless, but you could see that the defensive back kind of stopped, but he wasn't even near the guy anyway.
He probably was beating him.
The point is, as much as I hate to say it, the Tuck rule, they actually followed the rule.
Right.
And this rule, they didn't follow the rule. So it's frustrating because they're going to find a way to screw Al Davis even in his grave.
You're not wrong about any of that. All that, what you just said, is 100% true. The thing that the refs in the whole game, like, I don't think you're blaming the refs for the game, but can we agree that they're not calling any more games this year?
They've already came out and said they're not calling any more games. That's how damn bad they were.
Biggie, as a third party,
real quick.
Go ahead.
So the Raiders' defense this season was the worst red zone defense in the whole NFL.
Yep.
But for whatever this game, they kept stopping, getting three.
They were holding to field goals.
Well, let's think about it like this. Let's say that they called that the way it should have been called, and you all only got three. Then Carr's driving. It's not a touchdown or nothing. You got Daniel Carlson, who's one of the best kickers in the NFL.
Yep.
That game might be going to overtime.
It could. So
I'm just saying. Y'all could have scored there too, but we don't know that.
The only thing, and I was trying to explain this, I don't know if I did a good job through text. I feel like whenever it's hard to look at one play that happens in a game and say that went the other way. If everything else would have stayed the same, like that's so impossible to predict because play calls will become different. The speed, the tempo, the momentum, all that stuff can change inside the confines of the game. So but I know what you're saying.
No, but when you put 6 points on the board, that is
in a playoff game,
that's amplified.
A tight game. Yeah, absolutely.
You can't just say all these plays. I mean, when you put 6 on the board, that means a little
you're
more.
Right. You're right. And you have every right to be upset about that play.
No, but let's be real. I didn't expect to win.
Right.
I clearly did not expect to win.
Be there, right?
I was trying to talk crap to you all week just to get you amped up and you wouldn't bite because I know you're 31 years nervous of what was going to happen.
What the hell am I going to say?
You're not going to say anything.
He's afraid to believe.
So I kept trying to get you to take the bet. You wouldn't take it.
Dude, in my heart of hearts, I thought the Bengals would win, but I still can't pick them when it comes to the pipes, man. I can't.
But to me, that was just like – I was getting seconds at that point. I won the baseball league. The Braves are World Series champs. I mean, if the Raiders win, it's just a bonus for crushing your dreams once again.
Right.
But I didn't expect it.
Your Georgia Bulldogs already won, so you're rolling.
Yeah, that's right.
Go ahead and adopt Georgia, too.
I'm about ready to after keep watching this shit show in Morgantown.
So here's my question. I didn't see any of the game. I was running around. Haley needed makeup for show choir. We had to run to a makeup store, different stuff. Besides the point, I tried to follow your guys' text. All touchdowns are reviewed, and how can they review it in New York and still allow it?
Because it's
just
not
a failure.
You
completely.
can't review that.
Really?
And what happened was the officials said when they conferred on the field that they thought the whistle happened after the play. And it was within like a second of the end of the play.
The ball was in the air when it
the ball was in the air, and it was an erroneous whistle. So that's not reviewable.
So that's like the Ed Hockley thing in Denver years ago, where he came on the mic and admitted that he made the wrong call, but he could not reverse it and it wasn't reviewable.
Correct.
So if they would have got together and said, we're calling the play dead at that point, then it would have been
They
fine.
could have done that, and you just replay it. Kind of like, it's funny because we watched the Cowboys game, and they had a punt that hit the Jumbotron.
Right, I remember that.
And what did they call?
A do-over.
They blew a whistle. They played it. It was a live play. They blew it dead right then and there. So the whole thing wouldn't have happened if the stupid ref just wouldn't have blew the whistle.
Jerome Boger.
Just a dumbass. That's the problem. But the thing was, that whole game, like they were terrible. They were calling penalties like it was both ways. It wasn't no one team. Like at one point, you and me text each other like the penalty amount, and you're like, "That's it."
Yeah.
And I think it's just because they were always like the 5-yard variety, or they'd be offsetting or whatever.
I mean, when you text me that, I was like, I had the mindset already, not just because of that one play, but I felt like the refs done took over the game.
Right. Because
that's how it felt.
Because
they took the wind out of all the sails.
It would be when it got close to the red zone, it was like, okay, guys, get those flags out. It's time to
tell you how many holding calls there was, I felt like.
No.
I was like, Raiders first down. No, there's a flag, of course.
It's so out of control.
Leatherwood.
Oh, Leatherwood. He was a
Cut
star.
him. I told Biggie that was the bust the day they freaking drafted that fat ass.
Yeah, and then he kept showing his head every time. But
Leatherwood, a third-round talent in the first round. That's what you get, Mayock. That's why your ass is back at the NFL Network.
All right, so let's keep moving.
Hopefully the NFL Network.
Biggie, your Patriots. What happened?
Oh, they got whooped. They played a team that was better than them. And Josh Allen came out and played an amazing game. The Bills themselves didn't miss a beat. They hit on every single thing that they did offensively.
First ever perfect offensive game, I think.
Yeah. Well, I knew that they were going to do fairly well. Jalen Mills went on the COVID list. He's one of our starting corners. So I felt like that their offense was going to roll a little more because of that. Our defense didn't play that well at the end of the year. By no means did I expect them to play that well. They had first ever perfect game in the playoffs.
What does that mean again?
They didn't punt. They didn't have a field goal.
Turn the ball over.
And they didn't turn the ball over.
So
They just scored it. If they had the ball, they scored a touchdown.
So it's like Tecmo Bowl.
Because they even avoided the dreaded first half one, where, because that's what Cincinnati had a perfect game going until the first half ended. They didn't, but they were kicking field goals. They weren't scoring touchdowns. But anyway, the thing about Buffalo is I said that they're probably one of the best teams left, if not the best team, because ever since New England beat their ass that one time in the wind game and the snow game or whatever, they've the next game against Tampa in the second half, they kind of figured things out, and they've been on fire since then. So the Buffalo team that showed up is kind of what I thought would happen, but to that extent, that's insane.
I didn't expect it to that extent. There was a lot of people saying, well, they ran the score up. Well, yeah, I would too. They've been having their dicks kicked in for the last 20 years.
Speaking of having dicks kicked in, they had dicks thrown on the field.
It's always a Buffalo thing.
And I love how the cameraman, I don't know if they do it on purpose, but they definitely do not avoid the phallic objects in the end zone.
Yeah.
We had to wait how long for that to even happen, though. New England just couldn't score.
No, they couldn't. First drive of the game for them, they come down. Mac Jones throws on a 3rd and 14. Nice toss, picks it up, runs on a 3rd and 10, which he doesn't. You're thinking they're going to come down, tie the game. We're going to have a ball game here because I expected a close game. Throws at one end of the end zone about 45 yards, and it's a nice pass. Micah Hyde comes out of nowhere and makes one of the nicest interceptions I've seen this year. And at that point, I had this feeling, oh, man. It just kind of gave you a bad feeling.
I didn't watch any of it. I looked down at the score at the bottom, or I flipped it or something, checked my phone. It was 33-3, and I'm like, Biggie, what is going on?
Yeah,
So
I
let me
didn't
ask
watch
you this
that
real
whole
quick.
game.
So the dildos thrown on the field, do they do it for a particular reason? No reason at all? Is it like the octopus in a hockey game? Because
No,
they were killing it.
I
Is it
have
like
no-
we're pounding them, so we're throwing dildos?
It's
Well, it
only
started
New
when they
England.
were chucking him at Booger when he was down there in the.
They didn't know. You think that. It's not. He just happened to be in the line of fire.
Oh, okay.
It's only against the Patriots. It's
So-
not against anybody else.
Just them.
Yeah, and
Okay.
and it's really a Tom Brady thing, but it's carried over to the Patriots without Tom
Well,
Brady.
Okay.
here's the two things coming out of that game. I've heard a ton from Buffalo. Well, we ended the dynasty. Well, no, it ended a couple years ago. But you guys have won the division the last 2 years. Put it on us in the playoffs. Awesome. At the beginning of the year, the Patriots were hopeful to make the playoffs. They did. I'm happy with the season. The Bills
Well,
are
the rookie
projected as a
quarterback.
Super Bowl contender, right? Coming out of the AFC. What I'm hearing a lot of from A-Bomb, these other guys that I know and I've seen on social media is killed the Patriots riding high. They were playing We Are the Champions in the stadium afterwards. Guys, it's a wild card game. You're going to
If
Kansas
this is your
City.
Super Bowl, you're going to lose this week.
So what I'm worried, because I'm hoping that the Bills make the Super Bowl. I'm hoping for a Buffalo Tampa Bay Super Bowl. I'm hoping that they didn't blow their wad last week because Kansas City's playing much better defense than when they played earlier in
Did
the year.
Kansas City blow their wad last week? Because they did the same thing to the Steelers.
Big Ben at quarterback. Chad, you'd be better at quarterback.
Hey, left-handed too.
Yeah.
Did you see the post-game exchange between Mahomes and Big Ben where Mahomes was like he's tugging on Roethlisberger's jersey? He's like, "I got to give me one of these one time." They want to do the jersey swap, and Ben's like, "They have to cut it off of me." He didn't really say that, but Mr. Brown's looking at me like he believed that almost.
I believed it.
I absolutely believe it.
No, he did ask for a jersey swap. He's like, "I'll give me one of these sometime." But honestly, I don't think Ben was getting it off. It was staying on.
You look at all the games through the weekend. I fell asleep at halftime of that one, and then me and Mr. Brown didn't have power for a couple of days, so we couldn't watch Cardinals Rams, which apparently the Rams boat raced him. Odell was quarterback and wide receiver.
Kyler Murray is not your MVP, Kyler Murray. No, not happening, man. You want to talk about a guy that just did not seem like
Just wasn't ready.
He was not. The bright lights were on, and it blinded his ass, and he played terrible.
So I got
Did you see
breaking news.
Did you
on
see the
that.
interception he threw?
No.
Where he was getting tackled. Oh my God. He was in the end zone and he just shot putted one in the air, and they just picked it off, ran it back for a touchdown. Like it was like when a quarterback tries to throw with his left hand when he's not supposed to and just throws to the other team. Might as well have been that bad.
Nice.
But what were you going to say?
No, I was going to say, as soon as the baseball lockout ends, you're going to see an Oakland Athletics press conference. Just watch and see.
Maybe after that performance, it was bad. Like I was at the point.
I'm back.
I was at the point where I'm like, you might need to pull him. Like you aren't winning with him in the game. Like it was that bad.
Well, they made progress. They were in the playoffs this year. They haven't finished well in any of the years under Cliff Kingsbury. I will say this. We were talking about the Cowboys-Niners game earlier, okay? We all realize, like, the Cowboys, they're like, Texas football. They were 6-0 inside of their division. Counting the playoffs, they were 6-6 outside of it. Like, there's no getting the ball spot and your sleep number meme and all that. Like, the Cowboys just were not good. They put up a lot of points against bad teams that inflated their stats.
Yeah, they can blow out the bad teams. And here's the other thing, too. Not all respect, but slight respect given to the Cowboys. Like, who wants to play the Niners right now?
Nobody.
I mean, they just got hot at the right time. We talk about what the Raiders had to do to get in the playoffs. The Niners did the same thing. Yep. And the only thing is their defense is a lot scarier. And if Jimmy G just doesn't make mistakes, they might be unbeatable.
One other reason I wanted to bring up the Cowboys is you hear Kellen Moore's name out there everywhere for a head coaching position.
And Dan Quinn.
Dan Quinn flipped that defense in 1 year, and he's been a good head coach, took the Falcons to the Super Bowl. Dan Quinn deserves a shot. Kellen Moore is way overrated.
Yeah, I agree.
There is no way he should be anyone's head coach.
That's kind of like everybody like talks about Eric Bieniemy getting a job and Byron Leftwich getting a job, and it's kind of like Cliff Kingsbury. Like Kingsbury, like he's had a measure of success, but let's be honest, he got to where he's at because he had Patrick Mahomes as his quarterback in college. And so Bieniemy's got Mahomes now. Leftwich has got Tom Brady down there with Tampa. Like some of these coordinators, like I'm with you on Dan Quinn. Like that's remarkable, but like we need to calm down a little bit on some of these guys getting the job. It's like you're so right about Kellen Moore. Like why is he such a hot name?
Because he's a coordinator for the Cowboys. It's that media juggernaut. Because if you look at their offense, they try so scheme heavy. Look how far they were playing off of CeeDee Lamb. And Troy Aikman even came out and said it the next day in a radio interview. He's like, if they'd played Irvin like that when I was playing, he'd had 10 catches at halftime. Yeah. You can't be their offense is just bland.
It's very vanilla.
I think he's so overrated. One of you guys put that thing out earlier in the week where new coaches would land next year, and Byron Leftwich being with the Jags, good possibility. But like you just said, you have Tom Brady as your quarterback. Same thing with Eric Bieniemy. Everybody's saying there's different issues playing into why he's not getting opportunities for a head coaching position. Look what happened to Nat Nagy. Like being an offensive coordinator for Andy Reid is like being a lifeguard with Michael Phelps in the pool.
Right.
Riding
the wave.
Yeah.
I don't know. I say give the guys a chance, man. I mean, because the fact is, we don't know what they're going to do until they get the opportunity.
You're not wrong.
Look how many freaking coaches we gave a chance to, and they were just complete dog shit.
Well, like
give them a chance.
I would rather give these guys a chance than where the Texans hired, Cuddy or whatever, and
got rid of him right away. I would like to see Leftwich get the job.
No one knew who he was until he got the job, and he only got the job so he could get fired. At least Leftwich has been a coordinator in Arizona. He's been a coordinator in Tampa.
Yep.
Bieniemy's done a good job with Kansas City. You're not wrong about them.
I
felt like Leftwich has some credibility before Brady even came around.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, but the thing is now these are the hottest names out there. But it's just like it's who they're playing for. Like, can you tell me who Peyton Manning's offensive coordinators were?
Well, you had Adam Gase. He got him 2 jobs because he was with him in
Manning
Denver.
was his own coordinator.
Right. Yeah. He was for a lot of times. And I think that's how some of these other quarterbacks are too. I'm just saying it's not a slam dunk thing.
I mean, but like a Urban Meyer coming in the NFL just because he was a great college coach, I would rather hire someone like a Byron Leftwich over than a Urban Meyer.
Because I can count on one hand or maybe one finger how many successful college coaches have been in the NFL. And it's
Pete Carroll.
2. Carroll and Harbaugh.
Okay.
Like, that's it. Like, can you think of any others? And Carroll, it took a minute.
Yeah.
Way back in the day, it was Jimmy Johnson, but
yeah, Jimmy Johnson.
Barry Switzer won a Super Bowl, but that
Switzer won a Super Bowl with Jimmy Johnson's team.
Yeah.
I say give the dudes a chance, and if they don't make it, it's not like they're not going to be a coordinator again in a year or two.
I agree with giving them a chance. I just think everybody needs to calm down on them being the next great thing. We don't know yet.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
There's 5 guys, 4 of them I think deserve an opportunity, 1 doesn't. Kellen Moore, if he sniffs a head coaching job, then there's something seriously wrong. Todd Bowles deserves another run. Raheem Morris deserves another run. I'd like to see Bieniemy get his shot, although I think he's a product of
the system. Andy Reid.
And then I would love to see Leftwich get the job in Jacksonville with a young quarterback.
That one makes sense because he's got roots in Jacksonville. Yeah. And I love the fact that I think Shad Khan is actually pretty patient. I know we wouldn't think that because he fired Urban, but let's be honest, we were thinking it was going to happen 2 months before it did.
Yeah.
So all that being said, I think that would be a situation where he has time to grow and develop. Like if he had his first year, he only won 3 games, they're not going to abandon ship on him. You know what I mean? That's a job I would probably want is Jacksonville because there's not a lot of media pressure either.
Yep.
And you take them or Miami because, hell, then at least you're going to have some Brazilian booties and all that good
exactly.
stuff. Yeah. Cuban booties.
And why not? Taxes is nice in Florida.
You can get the job in Miami. You just have to like the quarterback that the owner and GM like. Everybody give him Brian Flores. He's this great coach. Only 9 teams haven't made the playoffs in the last 3 years. Miami's one of those 9.
All right. The one other, we got to hit this, and then we gotta move on. The only playoff game we didn't talk about is the Bucs and the Eagles. And again, I think that was pretty predictable.
Yeah, it was the most boring game of the week.
I think it was 31-0 at one point.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
I mean, I think that we saw the spread on that. The spread was huge, and it was because it was like.
We split.
Yeah.
2-2.
Yeah. I mean, it was the picks were interesting.
It was 8.5.
I just thought that the game would be ugly enough to where it wouldn't get that high scoring, but no, it's like Brady, man. He keeps finding people. It doesn't matter who his receivers are.
What else you got on that game? Because I got one more thing.
Antonio Brown came out today and said he does not have mental health issues.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he specifically said that.
So thanks for clarifying.
Oh, yeah. Cool. Yeah. All right. So someone posted on our page this week about that coaching staffing or the Washington Redskins at the time.
So here's the thing.
Who was the head coach first? And then
Jay Gruden.
It was Jay Gruden.
Yep.
If you want to know who you should hire for your next head coach in 2022, ask Jay Gruden who he would build his staff around because his staff had Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay,
and
Matt LaFleur.
And McVay was the tight ends coach.
Yep.
Yeah. But,
wow.
I mean, McVay's still young, so think about how quick he moved up through the ranks.
Do any of you guys know how old Sean McVay is? He's been the head coach, been to a Super Bowl of the Rams, I believe, for 6 years now.
36?
35.
35.
I was close. And how old is LaFleur?
42.
And
Kyle Shanahan's 42. Interesting stat. Tom Brady is older than any of the opposing head coaches left in the NFC playoffs.
This is ridiculous.
And sadly, he's probably going to play for 2 or 3 more years.
Like
keep saying that, though,
dude. If let me ask you
going to sign. He's like the Julio Franco of football, only he's the GOAT. On top of that,
so the NFC matchups are what?
We have the Niners going into Green Bay, and I believe that game's on Saturday.
Should be a great game.
You have the Rams going into Tampa Bay on Sunday.
2 great games.
Yep.
2 great games. But how bad do you want to see Brady and Rodgers?
I want it.
It's set up for that.
Yep.
It's set up for that. Because for Rodgers, if Rodgers beats Brady and then wins the Super Bowl, that's huge.
He'd probably retire right there.
I mean, why not? And then if Brady beats Rodgers again
and wins the Super Bowl,
oh my God!
I saw this stat
he doesn't need that. He doesn't need that. That's just ridiculous.
Tom Brady has as many wins against NFC teams in the playoffs as Aaron Rodgers does.
I know, and he's only been in the NFC for 2 years.
And everybody was so dumbfounded. This ain't right. And then they're like, dumbass, they're counting Super Bowls.
Yeah. He's been in a lot of them.
Oh, okay. It was so bad.
I will say this. The Niners, like Chad was saying earlier, they're that team you don't want to play. They're good on both sides of the ball. I love Deebo Samuel, George Kittle. it just seems like they are one Jimmy G throw away from losing every game.
Every game.
They're an odd NFL franchise, the way they just – their whole game plan.
They still don't know if he's going to be their quarterback next year. Like, it's crazy. They're 2 games away from the Super Bowl, and they're like, we don't know if he's the guy.
Yeah, he's not – there's no way that because they traded so much to draft Trey Lance at 2, they have to move on. They're hoping Garoppolo plays great, wins him a Super Bowl, and they can trade him for a first-round pick.
Right, because because
there's teams out there that need a quarterback.
Because Garoppolo, again, I think there's teams, if you go with a guy like Garoppolo, it gives you money to spend on other things.
Yeah, he's a manager. He's not like going to win you the game.
Right, but if he doesn't lose you the game,
no, I agree.
It might work. Remember, Blake Bortles took the Jaguars to an AFC Championship game.
No, I got you. Just think of like a team like that had like really good defense, and he just had to go out there and just be fundamental.
Like what if he was on the Colts?
Yeah.
See, I think
he'd be better than Wentz.
Oh, yeah.
Well, look at Garoppolo if he played for the Steelers.
Oh gosh,
man!
Run game.
All right, I want to close the NFL discussion with this, and we'll be back to talk our NFL Stone Cold Lead Pipe locks and update everybody on that because Mr. Brown has reaffirmed first place. But in our text chain, Turbo Tommy, the Steelers fan, said he didn't want Russ Wilson, and all I thought about was if Russ went to the Steelers, how bad that would suck for the rest of the division. Yeah. Because am I wrong with that? Like if you put a guy like Russ Wilson,
I wouldn't want it.
If you're a Steelers fan?
So now
I wouldn't.
If you're a Bengals
if I was
fan,
a Bengals fan,
you'd be like, hell no, right?
Dude, right now you're riding high. You got a half Chubb rolling into the weekend. You're looking at Burrow, Chase, Higgins. You got Mixon. You got players on the other side of the ball, young head coach. You're going to own this division for the next 4 or 5 years. Unless Russell Wilson rolls in where he's already got a stud running back, 2 good wide receivers, a good tight end, and a loaded defense.
And Mike Tomlin.
Yeah, I don't need that to happen. So, Tommy, I hope your dreams come true and they end up drafting a stupid quarterback and not trying to get Russ Wilson because it's not going to be Aaron Rodgers either. But anyway, I just want to get that out there because I was like, that's crazy. Why would you not want that guy? But that's all right. Sorry, Turbo. I'm not trying to talk crap about you while you're not here, but Steelers suck and gravy leg's gone. All right, Mr. Brown, for those who don't know, you have a marvelous Facebook group that you've built from the ground up with over 200 former big leaguers in there. What's it called?
America's Pastime, the Love for Baseball.
It's probably one of the most interactive and just engaging groups I've ever seen in all of Facebook. And I'm not just saying that because it's partnered with We Don't Know Sports and built by you. But it's awesome feedback in there all the time. You just did a giveaway earlier. You're giving out autographs and stuff like that because, you're a man of the people when you connect with big leaguers and you're passing that relationship on to the fans. But one of the things that you went out there and you asked who are the best players in each position of all time? And like you put these polls, these surveys out there. I remember seeing some of them. There's like 10, 11, 12, 13 names on these lists.
Yeah, I mean, actually most of them went 20 deep.
Easily, right?
But like it was the starting 9 from each position. And then we went DH on top of that and closer and manager.
Right. So
it was 12.
So we're going to go through these real quick because these are not your all-time greats. This is by
it was voted on by the people in the group, and it's approaching 25K. And then former major leaguers also mixed in their votes as well, voting. So, I mean, it's kind of cool.
All right. So we're just going to go through it, and you tell me how you feel. You tell me if they got it right or not. And Biggie, you feel free to chime in too. So for the starting pitcher, I got Bob Gibson.
I mean, you definitely could argue Bob Gibson all time. I mean, but the starting pitcher for me is so volatile. It could be a dozen players.
Sure.
I made the argument that Tom Seaver was better than Bob Gibson. Gibson had that amazing year, I believe in 61. Now we're going to just completely discredit Walter Johnson. We're going to discredit Cy Young, Christy Mathewson, the guys from the old time. You have like the guys from today. Like you can't tell me that Randy Johnson wouldn't just blow the doors off of Bob Gibson. I mean, you know what I mean? So there's so many variables. A Pedro, a Greg Maddux, who was actually a pitcher, Steve Carlton, Warren Spahn. Yeah. I keep going on and on. Even a Roger Clemens before the steroid allegations.
So we're not upset about Bob Gibson.
No, I mean,
it's just that's a tough one, right?
That's a debatable one, but I can't say that he wouldn't be. So I think he's in the top 5. I mean,
well, that's where you're saying he's the one, but if you were to build
There's
a
no
five-man rotation,
Yeah, this is game
maybe
7.
look at it a little different. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you're building an all-time 5-man rotation, Bob Gibson's definitely in it.
Okay.
And we'll leave it at that.
All right, so I think this one's not debatable, but if you're going to have the closer, you're playing Enter Sandman and you're going Rivera.
I mean, that one's a shoe-in. And the only other one they would say was Eck, and it's not even close.
Okay. I was going to ask if anybody
Kurt
else
Gibson agrees he'd rather see Eck.
Okay. Surprised to see Sparky Anderson as the manager?
Yeah, I am. A lot of Big Red Machine love in the group.
Apparently.
But you're talking about, like, you had Casey Stengel in there, Connie Mack.
84 Tigers. Who managed that team?
You know who.
Dude, they got out to a 35-5 start. Like, he was good and great. He was great in 2 different spots. I see what you're saying. Some other more legendary guys, Torrey, LaRussa, go back to Stengel.
LaRussa, Bobby Cox, Jim Leland.
I love Sparky.
No love for Joe Torre?
Not really, because he's wearing a tie now.
He was he was more of a victim of circumstance, right?
Right. But I'm looking at Sparky Anderson, and to me, my God, you can't tell me that's what like a major league manager should look like. Right. I mean, he's the definition of a major league manager's appearance.
He is.
So I'm not mad about it, and I love the pick that I chose for that. But I mean, that's arguable. You know what I mean?
It is. Personally, even though there's probably 5 guys ahead of him, I've always loved Jim Leland.
Oh, yeah. Jim Leland was up there pretty heavily, too. Especially after the Barry Bonds
Man, that's a
interview.
minute that you just can watch over and over
you
and
seen
over.
That, Chad?
No.
You just, at some point tonight or whenever,
I'll send it to you.
YouTube Jim Leland versus Barry Bonds. It's a spring training clip.
Oh, wait, no.
I'm the effing manager.
Yeah, when he was on the Pirates.
Yes.
I have seen that.
It is good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for jogging my memory there.
Yeah.
All right. First base.
You can't really touch that. I mean, because Lou Gehrig. I mean, what are you going to say?
How many of our followers there watched him play, though?
I know.
That's respect for a guy they didn't get to see. And a lot of times people just remember him for the iconic speech. But
hell of a player.
Yeah.
And not only that, I mean, if you look at the old – because I do a lot of old school pictures. I post them everywhere. If you see a picture between him and Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig was jacked. Like, he had some calves. He was upper body.
Yeah, Babe
Before strength training was even there.
was just a big guy. Garrick was like an athlete when
Right.
they weren't athletes.
Right.
all right, so we're all in agreement.
I mean, but
Garrett's
like,
good.
let's be clear. This is the only
Albert
sport
Pujols
where we would be talking about a guy from 100 years ago.
Right. Yeah, you're not putting Wyatt Tittle on the list.
No.
Second,
So we're going to go 3 deep here.
second base, we got Hornsby.
Yeah, I mean, second base, he's the guy statistically.
Yeah, but again, another one that I'm sure
A career 400 hitter.
Yeah, that's
What are you going to do?
you can't. That's the thing about baseball. Like you said, you're going to pull these guys out from the past because the
Right.
statistics just hold up.
Right.
We're just going to keep it in the Wayback Machine. Wagner,
I mean,
Honus.
he played before the 19th century.
Yeah, Honus Wagner makes the list.
Yeah.
It's not even a picture of him; it's just a drawing.
Yeah. The stick figure in a cave. I mean, I don't know. I mean, statistically, he's the best. I mean, but you can't tell me that, like, you drop Cal Ripken back there in a time machine and, like, he's
Right.
not dominating the crowd or even A-Rod. I don't know. He's got steroids.
But still, the numbers are there.
all
All right. How about Mike Schmidt at third base?
I like Mike Schmidt. The other candidates, obviously, you got George Brett, Brooks Robinson, Chipper Jones.
Yep.
Those are the 3 that pop out to me.
I thought Brooks Robinson might have won that
16 Gold Gloves. And he wasn't like he was a turd at the plate either.
one. Right.
The dude could play. Eddie Matthews.
Yep.
He had almost 550 home runs. But Mike Schmidt, he did it in the 80s, even though he had those shitty-ass Phillies uniforms.
You don't like the
but
powder
dude,
blue Phillies?
Dude, he rocked that stash and them tight blue pants, and he just did his thing.
George Brett's one of my all-time favorite players. The first glove that I ever had, real glove, had George Brett's signature imprinted on it. He was one of my dad. Even though my dad was a huge Reds fan, big Red Machine, he loved George Brett. So did I. I think Brett, Brooks, And Schmidt, to me, if one of those three are the guy and it's Schmidt, then I'm good with it.
All right, so speaking of the big red machine, no surprise, the catcher is Johnny Bench. I mean, that was a runaway or was it close?
That one was a runaway.
Who was the next closest?
I'm trying to think.
Mike Piazza.
It wasn't Piazza. It wasn't Carlton. I'm thinking it was
Pudge.
Was it Yogi?
Yogi. It was Yogi.
Okay.
I bet Pudge was up there too, wasn't he?
Yogi and Pudge. Which Pudge, right? Because Carlton Fisk is also Pudge.
Ivan.
Yeah. He was up there, but Yogi was number 2. A lot of Yadier Molina love.
Yeah,
I think he was top 5, actually.
I mean, Molina's he's a Hall of Famer.
He is.
Yeah, I get it. All right. Some guy named Williams.
My favorite hitter of all time. The last player to hit 400 in 1941.
So did you do outfield in general or did you do left, right?
I did by position.
Okay. All right.
So Ted Williams beat out Barry Bonds by the vote. And it's arguable.
I can see, yeah, but when you look at the numbers,
highest on base percentage ever.
Right, and the fact
And
that
then people factor in what the time
right,
he missed.
you take away the
5
PEDs.
years of his prime.
Yeah, you take away the PEDs too, and yeah.
No, defensively wasn't so good, but he was that damn good of a hitter that you overlook it.
Yeah, hit over 500 home runs.
And he was one hell of a
Missed
fighter
5
pilot.
years.
That's
so he hit like 380 or 390 at age 38.
that's he's a different breed.
Yeah, hit a home run in his last at bat.
The center fielder, Willie Mays.
That was it was between him and
Griffey.
I think Ken Griffey Jr. was number 2.
I would say I was just thinking recency bias. Griffey would be up there because we all saw him play.
But I think Griffey would have been I guess Mays is everything Griffey wished he would have been. Let's put it that way.
Yeah,
If Griffey would have stayed healthy.
That's my point.
Right.
Yeah. So Mays was what Griffey should have been
his whole
without the
career.
Yeah. That's the trajectory he was on.
Yeah, I'm okay with Mays being there, obviously, because Griffey was injured, although, Griffey's my all-time favorite player.
No, I got you.
But you are 100% correct. Had Griffey stayed healthy, he'd be number 1 on that list and a lot of others.
All right, some guy named Baby Ruth.
Anybody want to quote the Sandlot?
You mean that, dear?
That's the same guy.
No, I mean, obviously he's the icon of baseball over 100 years ago, but the only thing that pains me about this whole list is that Hank Aaron didn't make it anywhere.
That's crazy. And I think people don't realize how good Hank Aaron is, but it's hard to replace any of those guys there.
Well, here's the problem, and we're going to touch it next, but we voted by position. And instead of me just sliding the next best player as my DH, I actually made people vote for a real DH.
Right. And David Ortiz is the only guy that him and Rivera are the only two that really survived the recency bias. And Ortiz is actually linked with a little bit of PED, so I'm surprised he made it.
Big Papi beat Edgar Martinez by one.
That's that look on Biggie's face.
One vote.
What the hell?
One vote.
Did you vote Biggie?
Yes, I did.
He's lying. He hesitated.
He could have tied it.
Yeah.
Edgar
Edgar
lost my vote back.
Vote. So you're looking at a guy like Edgar who did it more. I mean, Ortiz did it a lot too, but Edgar is known for the DH.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't know.
But Ortiz has the big game DH though too.
Yeah, he has the postseason flair.
Yeah.
It came up when it was big, reversed the curse and all that. So, I mean, you can't get mad about that. It was between those two.
No. So, biggest discrepancy you saw, or is there somebody who didn't get enough votes that you were like, man, nobody even gave this guy love in any position? Anything you'd want to definitely chastise the group for?
I'm not going to say – I felt like Ozzie Smith got way too many votes at shortstop.
Well, you know how I feel about Ozzie.
I mean, I got he's defensive wizard, you want to say, but if we had sabermetrics back then, he would have been in the same spot and he wouldn't be out there doing backflips on the field. A 262 hitter, he would have been a late inning replacement. So
he is offensively mediocre.
He would have been a Rafael Belliard in today's times.
Yep.
Correct me if I'm wrong here, but are there only 2 players in that starting unit that played from 1990 on?
That's what I was saying.
Rivera
when did Schmidt retire?
and Ortiz.
When did Schmidt retire?
Late 80s.
Yeah.
He didn't make it to 90?
No.
Really?
Is that not what makes
that was
baseball
Del Murphy.
great?
Del Murphy was at 90, and he just petered out.
Why do I remember Mike Schmidt so well?
Schmidt was late 80s. I'm thinking 88.
He
You're
was
like
a beast.
you said, you're not putting Y.A. Tittle on it. Nobody's picking George Mikan. But when it comes to America's game, those guys are playing before 1900, the 30s, the 40s, the 50s. It's amazing.
Yeah, I think the hitters are easily translated, but the pitchers, like we talked about with Gibson, there's a lot to be interpreted there, and I think we touched on that pretty well.
Think about this. 5 of the 12 pictures are in black and white.
Yeah. Yeah, and the ones that some are in color, you can tell it's like sepia tone. It's not real
like
good
Willie
color.
Mays, yeah.
So even the Johnny Bench picture is not going to be great.
Yeah.
70s maybe. It's what we got. But I thought it was a good list. Great interaction there. I look forward to doing that with the football one, but we're not going to be able to do that till after the season. That's what I'm going to do once we get past all the Super Bowl stuff.
I have one question for you. Who in there would you take out to put Hank Aaron in?
I mean, if I could, I'd take Ortiz out. If I could just throw him in.
No. If you had is the outfield the way you'd want it to be?
I can't get mad about Williams, Mays, or Ruth.
Okay.
I can't. I mean, I can't. Like,
I'm just amazed that Aaron didn't.
Williams is my guy, man. I can't, like, if anybody, I would take Mays out before I take Ted Williams out.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
You can't go wrong with any of those guys.
But I want to touch on this. I'm not going to go into it, but as Chad mentioned, there's over 200. I think there's actually 206 players now in the group.
Who's counting?
But I kind of put pen to paper today and created my 26-man roster with players that are in my group, and I'll go into that at some point, but I haven't even put it in the group yet. But I will say this. The starting rotation and the bullpen are off the charts. You're not beating this team. And this is actual players that interact in the group. So if you haven't joined already, it's America's Pastime, the Love for Baseball. It's crazy.
They'd win 100 games.
There's 4 Cy Young winners, and our 5th starter is Kurt Schilling.
Best pitcher might not, but I'd be the one who.
It'd be all right.
Yeah,
especially if you could get everybody on like their peak. It'd be.
That's what we're looking at.
It'd be.
Like I said, I put Knobloch over Brett Boone. Sorry, Booney, if you're listening, but
that hurts.
It's Knobloch before the Ips.
There you go. So always good content there.
Booney.
Always good content. We appreciate all the stuff in the baseball group, and hopefully we get to talk more baseball and we get this stupid lockout stuff resolved and get past this work stoppage. But man, it's still fun to talk baseball in January. Get a few more weeks where we get to hear that sound, but it's time once again for our NFL Stone Cold Lead Pipe Locks of the Week, and we are in the divisional round. And for those keeping track at home, we were tied heading into the postseason, and we weren't even sure if we were going to do the postseason the same way, but damn it, we had to. Mr. Brown, you took a 1-game lead after the wild card round. Are you feeling like everything's back to normal?
After my epic collapse in Week 18, I don't know what's normal anymore.
Atlanta Falcons-like performance. Your 28.
We got cats and dogs living together. I don't know what's going on.
Things are all messed up. Biggie,
up is down.
You
the top shelf on the bottom.
Feel like you're going to bounce back here? There's only so many games left, so the margin of error here is now even smaller.
I like it.
I do. It gets real tight at this point. I might as well just go ahead and try to win. I was really hoping Mr. Brown would blow me away at the end of the year, and I could just ride his coattails to fame. But what I wish we would have done with Turbo Tommy since he didn't start the year, we all should have thrown money in on our playoff picks.
We should have. But to keep track of last week for everybody, Mr. Brown, you went 4-2, so you rode your homer pick with the Raiders, and then you also whiffed on the Cowboys. Everything else you got right.
Here's what makes me mad, because I knew the Raiders were going to lose, and I just did it out of, I just picked them.
Just as a fandom. Right?
I couldn't pick your Bengals. I just couldn't in front of you.
Well, I didn't pick the Bengals either, so it's okay.
But you never pick your team.
Biggie, you inexplicably took the Patriots to cover against the Bills, so your homerism is showing as well.
I felt like I had to take them. I am not surprised that they lost. Like I said before, I'm surprised they got blown out. That was the one pick I made on the spread where I was like, man, they're going to lose by a touchdown.
So did you have to get on Bomasudo's show this week again, or was it just that one time?
Did the pregame.
When did you do that?
Saturday night, leading up to the game.
Nice. How'd that go? Other than the outcome.
It was pretty good. They were pretty jacked up and ready. They were pretty confident in the Bills for that night.
All right. But you represented we don't know sports about.
Oh, damn right.
All right.
You and Turbo inexplicably took the Steelers to cover that 12.5 too.
I really thought Big Ben's, last game, the way the defense had been playing, that they would lose, but they would lose like 23-13.
All right, and then the only game we all picked the same. Do you know what it is?
Rams.
We all picked the Rams, so we got that right. At least we're across the board there. But Mr. Brown is one game up as we head into the divisional round. So let's go ahead and get right to it. And we'll start with the Saturday game. It's a 4:30 affair in Tennessee. The number one seed in the AFC, the Titans.
God, I love that music.
With Derrick Henry possibly playing. He said he's playing. He said he might play.
He did contact drills in practice and held up just fine. It'll be a later in the week decision, but I'm pretty sure he's playing.
So as of right now, because we pick these games on a Thursday, the Titans are a 3.5-point home favorite.
So, Chad, the mark, you crapped on the Titans all year long.
He needs to go first.
This is your team. You let us know what you think.
So ever since I've caved in to, it's like what Michael Scott said, I'm not superstitious, I'm just a little stitious.
Yeah.
And I just haven't picked the Bengals to cover a single game since like week 12, and look where it's gotten them. And, I know where my heart is, but my head is picking the Titans to cover. And it's just because I can't break stride now. Like, I cannot pick the Bengals because if I pick them now and they lose, it's my fault.
Yeah, because you have control over it, of course.
Clearly, I'm orchestrating this push in the playoffs. Like, it's got to be the way it is. So, like you said, you already knew where I was picking. I'm taking the Titans. I got it highlighted here. So I look forward to the Bengals being the underdog and pulling the upset, hopefully. But I got the Titans covering.
So you said it's 3.5?
3.5.
I hate that hook because I kind of feel like it's going to be a field goal game. But you know me. I'm going with the Fighting Mike Vrabels coming off a bye. King Henry going to run the ball down their throat.
With conviction.
I agree with you, Chad. This is poetic justice. The team you've shit on all year is going to be the team that ends your 31 years of dreams. And they're getting an incredible Hawk back. Like most teams, they've kept rolling, and you'd be worried about team chemistry.
I was going to ask.
But when you get back a man of this caliber, people like try to grab his ponytail, whatever the hell that thing is, and they just fall off. He just flicks his neck to the side, and they just go flying through the air. He flies D-backs off of him. Linebackers don't want to touch him. Dude, the man was like 9th in rushing and played 8 games this season.
Yeah, I mean,
he almost had a 1,000-yard rushing season. So guess what? He's going to come in. He's going to cover up Ryan Tannehill's sorry ass. And the Titans are going to roll. They're going to win by 10 points.
So the likelihood of all that happening is very possible. I get that. And it's not going to ruin no dreams of 31 years. The dream's already come true. We got the monkey off our back. So now
a wild card,
No, just winning a single postseason game.
Keep celebrating mediocrity, brother.
I'm good. I'm ahead of schedule.
Can I just throw one thing out there that I think is really cool? The fact that the Titans used to be the Oilers, and the Oilers had Earl Campbell who just run guys over. Now the Titans are that same franchise, only they're not.
Dude, if they came out wearing like the old school Oilers, I would just turn the game off and be like, I can't watch this massacre. It's about
I would be a fan of them automatically.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, I've never met a Titans fan in real life. Have you?
No.
Have you?
No, I have not.
Okay. I like people shit on the Bengals for not having, but at least I've met some of them, but I've never met a Titans fan.
Dude, why couldn't the freaking Texans done what the Browns did and just be the Oilers?
Yeah.
For God's sakes.
That would have been the best thing.
All right, so we're across the board having the Titans cover there. How about the late game on Saturday? The San Francisco 49ers on the road to Lambeau. No idea what the temperature is going to be, but I'm sure it's going to suck.
The night game, it'll be cold.
The Packers 5.5 at home.
I'm going to ride the 49ers here. I do think the Packers will win this game, but they played once this year. It was 30-28. Rodgers had to take them down the field for a field goal with 35, 40 seconds left, something like that. to me, this game comes down to something we discussed earlier. They're one Jimmy G play away from winning or losing, and since it is that close, I like them to cover 5.5.
I really thought I was going to be a lone wolf here, but the power of porn is strong with this one. So I'm also going Niners. I just like the way they play. I feel like that they play differently than any other NFL team. Their game plan's different. Now, the only question I have is, what's the deal with Bosa?
He's playing.
All right, good deal. Then I think the Niners could potentially win this game. But they're definitely going to cover.
Okay, do you want to go out on a limb and go ahead and call out the upset?
I'll do that.
Okay.
In Lambeau.
Ooh, stranger things have happened. So let me clue you guys in that you're going against Aaron Rodgers, the guy who is throwing more touchdowns versus interception than anybody's ever done in a Clipping history. It's at home. It's a night game. The eyes are on. And the Packers are going to win this game, not by 1, not by 2, but by 3 points. So the Niners are covering as well. There's no way it's like you said, Biggie. I'm actually on board. We're all taking the Niners here to cover because there's no way that the way they play, I don't see the Packers winning by like a touchdown. And that's really what you're asking here. 5.5, there's no way this game stays at 5.5. If like we put money on this now, by the time you look on Saturday morning, it's going to be like 3.5. There's no way it stays there.
Yeah, the line will keep moving. And to what Mr. Brown said, you said it perfectly. The Niners play like no one else. In that Dallas game, when it's like 3rd and 13 or whatever, and they're trying to get the first down to put the game away, let's take Debo, put him in at running back, and just run around the end. They do what no one else does.
And that's what I was meaning. Like, the fact is, they know they have a stud in a position, and for whatever reason, other NFL teams don't do it, but they do what they should and be like, we got to get him X amount of touches, no matter how we do it in the game plan, we're going to fit him in. And that's what they do, and that's why they have great game planning, in my opinion.
All right, let's go to the we haven't had any lone wolves yet. I'm just making sure. So we're all on the same page. The Rams on the road. There's a 3 o'clock start on a Sunday.
So they're setting these up like Championship Sunday where it's like a 3 and a 6:30.
You got it. So 3 o'clock, Tampa Bay hosting the Rams. Tampa is a 3-point home favorite.
So I may end up being the lone wolf on this one because they played earlier in the year. The Rams won, and the final score was closer than what the game truly was. Wirfs and Jensen both got hurt last week. Tampa Bay's offensive line looks like they're both playing. I know Jensen is. Wirfs is a little lifty. That front line, offensive line, has been healthy for 2 years now for Tom Brady. I'm going to roll with the Bucs to cover at home. Although I think that the Rams have put so much into this season and that defense that Donald, Ramsey, Von Miller, I think they have the potential to be a game wrecker because you know AB, no Godwin, Lenny Fournette's coming back, Wirfs might not be there. I'm still going to roll with the Bucs at home.
Okay.
I think this is the night the lights go out in Tampa. So I'm going Rams all day. I think they're going to win the game. I just do. I'm going Rams.
Okay. Any prediction on like how or what's going to happen? Why are they winning?
Pain.
That's the prediction.
Aaron Donald.
Aaron Donald, the only man that says stop hate while choking somebody.
Exactly.
On the back of his helmet.
I don't know. I just feel like I know they played the Eagles, but the Eagles are just probably
it's a good tune-up game.
Them and the Steelers are the 2 worst playoff teams.
Yeah.
But
the Cardinals are pretty bad too.
They're so thin at receiver, man. Scotty Miller is not taking you to the Super Bowl.
You got
just not.
Scotty Miller, who he at least has some relationship with as far as where he's going to be.
He's a poor man's Hunter Renfrow.
Mike Evans, Gronk, great. But if you looked at the game last week, he had a couple wide receivers that stopped on a route when he thought they'd keep going. You know, there was a noticeable disconnect there, and that's why I'm taking the Bucs, but I think that'll come back to bite him.
So this game's a toss-up to me. I think anything could happen.
I agree with you. It's a tough one.
I can't bet against Tom Brady. I can't.
Gotcha.
It's Tampa. Yeah. Tampa's going to win, and I think if they're going to win, they're probably going to win by 3, so it's probably a push. But I'm going to go ahead and take Tampa to cover because they might win by 5. I mean, it's going to be like no more than that. It'll be a close game. And the Rams, they could end up winning by 20. Like, Tampa's not going to win by 20.
But if the Rams blew them out, you
if
would
it's
be
a blowout,
right.
it's the Rams.
But yet here I am picking the Bucks.
Well, we should both say the same thing. We're taking Tom Brady to cover.
We're
not
taking Tom
the Bucs
Brady to cover, and that's all I can say. So
Any
you're
of
the
them
lone
Bucks
wolf.
What the hell
screw
does
up
the
over
Rams
there
sound
in
like?
Bruce Arians will head slap him.
No, we can't head.
Can I go start my truck up?
Yeah, that's kind of start the Dodge Ram. That's
Yeah.
it. There you go. And just do like how Biggie tries to do the skull. That's kind of.
I need a horn. Yeah,
Trying to get my son to help me do the skull 1 week. He's supposed to be a Vikings fan.
All right, last game. Think about this, guys. We're only picking 4 games.
Yeah.
The season's almost done. The tightest spread is on this game. It's pretty much a pick, and we're in Arrowhead. Kansas City at home against the Buffalo Bills. Can they circle the wagons in KC? The Chiefs are a 2-point favorite.
Give me the Bills all day long. They're going to win by 10. Last year, AFC Championship game, Kansas City rolled and went to the Super Bowl. Stephon Diggs sat out there, watched that whole presentation, Lamar Hunt Trophy. Josh Allen is that guy. After that second half of the Bucs game, like you were talking about earlier, Chad, they have turned it on. This is their year to represent the AFC. They're going to roll into KC, and they're going to end KC's season. Jackson Mahomes, we can shut him down. No TikTok. Brittany, whatever. Let's shut her down. I feel bad for Andy
Brittany,
Reid, but he
bitch.
can eat more chocolate cake.
So I just got to ask something real quick. So I remember the Stephon Diggs thing you're talking about. And I see this all the time now. Like somebody wins and they show players on the other team. Is that a thing now? Like, is that supposed to make me
When
think,
did it start?
like, oh, you're going to soak it in and you're going to come back like a stronger man now because you watch them celebrate with a trophy.
Well, what
You
they tell you.
got to have the music in the background.
What music should I add for that?
Rocky 4, man.
Remember how this feels.
I need to see some. I need Stephon Diggs in a gym with a rope and a bunch of rocks before I believe any of that.
Maybe
shit.
some Indian war chants.
Hey, I mean, it's this whole thing. Like,
Last of the Mohicans.
there you go, Daniel Day-Lewis, baby.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, this whole thing that started now, where like they're showing this. They showed it with Alabama or something like that. I don't know. It's every time you turn around and somebody loses a game, it shows the team eliminated just watching, like they're soaking it in. And that's fine. That's what you got to do. Do it. But don't act like that's what's going to be the difference here. But that being said, the Chiefs are winning this game. They're covering the 2-point spread. It's at home. You want to take the Bills so you can vindicate your Patriots.
I'm taking the Bills because it's the right pick.
You're taking them so you can feel better about the Patriots shit the bed last week. Chiefs winning this game easily. They are not the sad sack of Chiefs that we thought they were in the middle of the season. They've right the ship. They're doing well now. They're going to do really well this week as they win by double digits against your Bills.
All right, off there, we'll come up with a little side bet for this game.
Me and you. I think of the Bills just like I do the Bengals. They're just happy to be there. They know they're not supposed to
Their
be there.
expectations are much higher, though.
They're not like, they know they're not going to win, but even if they get to the Super Bowl, they're going to, like that's what they do. They lose Super Bowls if they even get there. So how you say it, Anthony, and the rest of your crew there, a game book, but the Chiefs are going to win this game. You're not going to go into Arrowhead, one of the toughest places to play in NFL, and just get the win. Mahomes actually has won a Super Bowl. I can't say that Josh Allen will ever win a Super Bowl. So I'm going Chiefs, and then they have to even run the ball. And they're still going to be.
I mean, this is going to be the third year in a row the Chiefs could be in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You're saying it's not the Bills circle the wagons. It's the old school. The Bills are spelled with 4 L's.
Yeah.
Okay.
On top of that, I haven't even said the real reason why the Chiefs are going to win. Do you not think that Andy Reid's not going to coach up this perfection to where he can't go back to the White House and eat some Big Mac?
That's not on the menu now, though.
Well, whatever it is,
He
he
does like
wants some
chocolate
free
cake.
Big Macs and fast food at the White House, or whatever the case may be. Andy Reid's not turning down free food.
He can eat all he wants anywhere in Kansas City for the rest of his life. Good barbecue because he won a Super Bowl. This is the time for Josh Allen to show that he is the guy.
All right, well, you're the lone wolf, Biggs.
Nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills.
You hope. We'll see if that makes the Patriots season seem a little better because you lost to the team that might go.
You're
to the
such a
Super Bowl.
bastard. I hope the Bengals lose by 72.
Eat a bag of dicks. All right, well, It's always fun to wrap up the picks as we're getting even closer to the Super Bowl. And man, these are good games. I think we talked about it earlier. The Bengals Titans. That's the odd game out. That's the game that it's the first game for a reason. Every other game seems like super high stakes. Anything could happen. The spreads are close, and I feel like we're ending with the right game too. I think that might be the most hardest spot game, but we'll see what happens. Anything else you want to say? You want to run my name in the ground again for just disagreeing with you about a team, or are you good?
You're used to being wrong at this point. I don't have to rub it in, but if the Bills don't win, it can't be a Bills-Bucs Super Bowl, so they have to win.
Why do you want the Bills-Bucs Super Bowl?
Well, because I feel like this is like a video game. When you were playing back in the day, Super Mario Brothers, you get to the end. The Bills have won the division 2 years in a row. They just destroyed the Patriots. Now you got to beat King Koopa and the cat.
I bet you were one of them kids that always played with Luigi, too. No, you did, damn it. It's like, I don't want Mario, I want Luigi because he's green. I bet he jumps higher.
I do like things that are green.
Okay, we'll leave it at that. All right, that has been the divisional round of the NFL Stone Cold Lead Pipe Locks of the Week. Mr. Brown is holding a one-game lead, and we do have some difference of opinion this week, so we'll see how it shakes out. So tune in. We'll see how it goes. All right, man, we got a show almost in the books here, but I just wanted to stop for a second because we were having a little bit of a discussion before the show started about just athletes that we've kind of admired or grown up with, and we were just kind of going into some NBA guys because, we struggle with the NBA a little bit. That's fair. Like my fantasy basketball team clearly showcases that for me. But, there's a guy that I can say while he was playing, he wasn't one of my favorite guys, but I always kind of liked him. But as time has gone on, I've just kind of grown more fondly of him, and that's the big Aristotle, the Diesel, if you will. So what is it about Shaq, man, that's endearing? Like, you're feeling the same way, right?
I love Shaq when he played because I just felt like he was a different type of player. He changed the game inside. Not like with the footwork like an Akeem type player, but he just dominated and he knew he would dominate because he was just that much bigger than you. And like breaking backboards and shattering glass. I mean,
Shaq,
he was like a big kid on the court.
He was the guy that made it to where teams had to have a backup hoop at their facility.
Yeah.
And three centers.
Yeah, I was going to say backup centers.
Yep.
Several backup centers.
I don't know. I feel like he's truly a big kid. That's how and even in his retirement years, I feel like he's a big kid because he donates to charities. He gives away like PS5s to kids in need. I just feel like he's living out the dream where he knows he can help people and he wants to bring a smile to people's face.
Well,
and he genuinely enjoys life.
Yeah.
So Shaq is our generation's George Foreman. That great athlete
damn
who
good
becomes
comparison right there.
Iconic after he's done with his.
Right. Well, he's an entrepreneur, and let's be honest, he's not going to be the same wealth of a guy like Jordan or even Magic Johnson, but he does really well for himself, and he doesn't go all out on these investments. He just makes very careful and calculated.
He owns
ones.
like self-storage things, 24-hour fitness.
You're saying the general's not smart?
Dude, he changed the way the general's perceived. Like, it used to be this, but yeah, like,
go to the general and save some time.
But at first you're like, oh, the Shaq's doing general commercials. Yeah. But now, like, he's done it so much. Do you think they're not like the biggest fans of Shaq? Like, he's elevated their brand more than, like, he's making Ernie Johnson and Barkley in their commercials now. Yeah. Just that's the power of the Diesel.
Singing in the shower.
That commercial's amazing. Like, they're just looking at each other. I guess you really do sound better in the shower. And it gets out and it's like trash, and they're like looking at each other.
He was brought in to save Papa John's after their CEO kind of shit the bed.
So I'm going to try to play this into the mic. You guys tell me if you saw this or not. You won't see the video, but he's wearing an AEW shirt because that's another reason we love him, because he'll get into the ring.
Yeah, he took a table.
So that's a video he makes in his own home that he'll throw out there.
Well, there's always the videos like his son's recording him sleeping on the couch, like snoring and stuff like that. Like, he's He's just having the time of his life, man.
And he does that where he was like rapping with the Fushnikins back in the day. And now he does these huge concert where he's
Shaq
like the
Fu,
DJ.
baby.
Yeah.
What's up, Doc? Can we rock?
I feel like he's one of those players that, like, if you just happen to meet, like he was traveling the country and you just ran into him, he'd be more than willing to sign an autograph, take a picture, let you put on social media, whatever. I feel like he'd just be the guy who would just go with it.
Yeah, like what
Maybe I'm completely wrong.
What you see is what you get.
I feel like he'd be the guy, but like, sure, man.
Yeah.
I'm just traveling. Who cares?
Like he would, as long as you were respectful to him, he'd be respectful right back.
My favorite like comment from him when he's talking about his kids and his family, and he's like, remind him all the time, I'm rich. We ain't rich.
Right.
I'm rich.
Yeah, he said he's like, we can get this, we can get that. He's like, I can get that. You can't get nothing. It's my money.
And I like that though.
Yeah, I mean, but that's how you should be. If you're, I don't question his parenting skills. I'll say that.
You hear these stories about how somebody needs a computer or something for their kids. He'll go through and he'll just randomly pick like a Walmart and he'll pay off everything that's on layaway.
So the thing I was going to bring up earlier about Shaq, so like his humanitarianism is fantastic, and he's wealthy now, and he's very business savvy, and
he's a Leo also.
He's for whatever that's worth, but there is
law enforcement officer.
Have you ever heard and he's an Adam Sandler movie star, so you know all his movies. Have you heard the story about him and David Robinson when he first was playing against David Robinson? So it was when he was with the Magic. So they're getting ready to play the game. They're in the warm-ups or whatever, and he kind of walks out to midcourt. I hope I'm telling the story right. Dave Robinson's there. You know, comes over, you know. He's like, that's what you know. I'm going to mess you up. Dave Robinson's like, all right, man, whatever. He's like, nah, ever since I was a little kid, I can't stand you. You wouldn't sign an autograph for me. And I'll never forget that. Dave Robinson's like, man, I sign autographs for everybody. This guy's lost his mind. He's just like, yeah. So I'm going to take you to the woodshed tonight. Made it all up. Never happened. He just said that to get in his own head, to get mad. And he kept that story going for a couple of years. And that's what he did. He told David Robinson. And it wasn't for like a decade. He finally came clean and was like, that never happened.
I was about to say, I got David Robinson's autograph.
David Robinson.
Shaq ain't getting it?
He signed everybody. Shaq was like, I was just a little kid and you wouldn't sign my autograph. Because, you know, he's like 10, 12 years older than him.
Yeah.
So he came up with that story just to motivate himself.
That is funny.
That's good shit right there.
Because you know David Robinson damn well looked at him and was like genuinely confused.
David Robinson's going to be the guy that remembers every autograph.
Yeah.
Like, he'd be the guy
how did I
like,
forget this kid?
I've never not signed an autograph for a kid.
He's probably like the most genuine player that's ever played. Like with the most honor.
Yeah. And here's Shaq just trying to get in his head somehow.
And I think the thing that has endeared Shaq to more people than just us as he's gotten older is his interactions on the set with Chuck and EJ. It's like even more what you said, just living the dream. He's just a giant prankster.
He is, man. Do you know the reason why we have Shaq shoes? Do you know that story?
I don't know the details.
The Shaq brand shoes.
Those the and one. Is that different?
No, he's got his own brand.
I thought the and one looked like him back in the day.
Well, he was before and one. Okay. It's his logo of him breaking the backboard.
Yeah. That's what I meant.
But anyway, the Shaq shoes came about was he had a deal with Reebok, and he's leaving a game, and this lady with her kids was there and just started giving him shit about how much his shoes cost. They're $120, blah, blah, blah. Our kids can't afford this, blah, blah. And the way he tells it touched a nerve. He terminated his contract with Reebok like the next day. He said, whatever it is, I'm out of it. I don't want to do it anymore. And they designed their own shoe company and they sold it at Walmart's.
Yeah, you can buy a pair of Shaqs for $20. Every kid can have them.
Right. And you know what? Like, people would probably shit on kids that have them shoes because they didn't have the Jordans or whatever. But like, that was Shaq, like, actually not just using the business acumen, but just saying, I'm going to try to do something right.
I had Shaqs. I also had Starberries. You could buy those for $20.
I forgot about those. Were and ones, weren't they?
Yeah,
the Starberries were. Anyway, so there was a little Shaq story for everybody. Hope you enjoyed that. But
I'm sorry, and it completely changes the narrative of what we're talking about. But my favorite shoes that I remember to this day, I was in 7th grade, and I had the EMJ. They were the patent leather. They had the black leather on the sides with the white, and we all wore those. It was a team shoe for our 7th grade middle school basketball team.
Nice.
Oh, they're so nice.
So I am
sharp.
I'm not a sneakerhead by any means. I don't know.
Sharp.
I don't know if you still like look at shoes.
I don't. Not like that.
I had I remember in 8th grade I had the Sean Kemps, and they had these little reflective pieces on the inside of the tongue. It was hard to explain. But I loved those shoes for some reason. Those are my babies. I
figured you was a pumps kind of guy.
You know, I think that was more like grade school, man. We had the pumps back in.
I figured you wore them in middle school.
Nah. I had evolved. I had to get the. I'll tell you what.
Look at me, guys.
I had pamp. Now I can jump high. I had the strength shoes too. Right?
Oh god.
I
can pro it.
You had the strength pumps.
I can touch the rim, and I'm just touching the back of it.
I'm getting the net.
Nothing but net, baby. Let me ask you this: your basketball jerseys in middle school. What was your rotation? Did you have some NBA jerseys back in the day?
Oh, I mean, who did I have?
Yeah.
Obviously, I had Jordan. I'm trying to think who else I had.
So I had 3 Jordans. I had the black Jordan, the red Jordan.
I had the black with the red stripe.
Yep.
Okay.
And
that was an amazing one.
I had a
we weren't used to alternate
white
jerseys
Jordan
then.
also. I had a
white one's
Rodman.
rare.
I had a Larry Johnson. I had a Sean Kemp.
I had a USA Larry Johnson.
Yeah,
nice.
Might have been no, I had a Hornets Larry Johnson. Yeah. And I had a Alonzo Mourning Hornets jersey too.
But the Hornets, like everybody had Hornets gear back in the day.
They did.
There was something about them.
Speaking of that, so we had all this snow we've been having. And when I was 13 or 14, I had not Hornets, but a Carolina Panthers. Remember how that was like the starter jacket?
Yeah.
We had one of those, and we had it waterproofed back in the day. And it's been in Mom's closet for 20-plus years.
You have it?
Yeah. Mom has it. So she sends me a picture where I'm at work dealing with 9 inches of snow of Landon, my son, who's Gary turned 13, wearing my same damn jacket that we waterproofed 20-plus years ago.
Dude, you should sell that on eBay.
And it was a Panthers starter jacket that we've waterproofed.
Is it the one that has like the pocket in the front?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So it was like, but like that was one of the best like jackets that came out of
starter jackets, because everybody had the Hornets starter jacket back in the day.
But like that Panthers collar back in the day was sharp, man.
Hey, man,
still sharp.
That's badass.
Whatever happened to starter? I had a lot of starter gear.
I don't know. You know, Champions like making a comeback. Like it's
Champion's
cool.
good gear.
It's cool to have Champion gear again.
Yeah.
But I
got off track. But
I just wanted to hit you with mine. So Biggie and I had some of the same jerseys. I had the Sean Kemp, but it was the new Sonics Kemp jersey with the one like when they made the finals with their jersey. It looked like I hated those, but I loved Kemp. That was one of my guys. I had my Muggsy Bogues jersey because Muggsy was my guy. I was a Hornets fan. That was my boy.
I can't say I had a lot of NBA jerseys.
I had the Jordan, and then I had the this is one just kind of off the wall. Rookie of the Year, Damon Stoudemire, Toronto Raptors, and it was the one that had the Raptor dribbling the basketball.
I remember that. Yeah. I remember that one.
I had that one. I
can't believe you even had a Jordan jersey as much as you despise the man.
Well, because I still recognized that it was Jordan.
I can't believe you would have had it.
Yeah. I still have it.
Yeah.
It doesn't fit me at all, but I still have it.
You're closer, though.
I'm getting there.
Yeah.
I'm getting there. I mean, if I had to.
You should wear that to the football draft.
I should. I'll just be like John Cena.
I believe I can fly.
I'll wear the chain, be like Thugonomics.
There you go.
All right, so your boy over there, does he got any, this is current day high school student. Isaac, you got any jerseys? You got Stephon Diggs for the Bills?
No.
Oh, that one hurts.
Yeah, it does hurt. It sucks when
You probably got that after the Minneapolis Miracle, right?
Yeah, I did.
Man, now your heart gets broke twice.
I have a Harrison Smith jersey, a Michael Jordan jersey.
What kind of Jordan jersey?
It's just like the plain red one.
Okay.
The road jersey. I like the red, though.
I want another one. And I have a Dalvin Cook jersey.
Dalvin Cook. All right. So a lot of Vikings gear there.
Too. Yeah, and a Steph Curry jersey.
Steph Curry jersey. All right. What kind of Curry? I know there's like 19 different ones there.
It's,
so.
it's like the blue one, their home one.
Just the classic, classic road.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. There you go. So I respect that collection. I'm sorry about the Stephon Diggs.
Our like for
Talking to the mic,
kids,
Biggie. Talking to the mic.
the jerseys and the kicks still the big thing?
Yeah.
Because back in the day, if you had a pair of J's, that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, J's are still. If you got a pair of J's, you're cool.
Do you got some Yeezys?
No, I do not.
Don't know what you're missing. All right, we've done hit the category to end the show now. So this has been the We Don't Know Sports podcast. Make sure you check us out on Pick Watch. We got the blue check mark, and we're making our picks with the experts because, damn it, we're experts now too. Mr. Brown looks to hang on to the lead, and we're going to enjoy some divisional round football this weekend. That's all we got. Have a good weekend. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.